In today's episode of The Mainline, we are going to be speaking to Rachel King. She's based in California, and she's going to tell us all about how she went from being an award-winning pastry chef to running her own manufacturing edible company called Kaneh Co.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you so much, Rachel, for being on with us tonight. How are you doing?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing great. So, first question of the night. Please tell us all how you got started in this industry.
Okay, yeah, it was an interesting path. So I was a pastry chef in San Diego, California for about 10 years, and I was approached with this opportunity. And that was like 6 years ago. And at that time, it was very gray market. And I was a pastry chef and concerned that if I left the field that I was in to enter the cannabis industry, that it might be an issue. So I was very hesitant at first. And then it took a few months, and I was like, you know what? Why not? Why not try it out? What's the difference? So we started our company, Kaneh Company, with 3 people in a little dingy kitchen, and have grown ever since.
Oh, yay, that's great.
Yeah.
What was the inspiration behind Kaneh Company?
The name or the business in general?
Both.
Okay, perfect. So the name is referring to ancient texts, namely the Torah, where it refers to canna, and many people think that that's cannabis. So yeah, that's where the name came from. And then in terms of the business, my brother and some of our friends from high school were all in the cannabis industry, so it made sense to take my expertise and their expertise and blend it together. So that's how we created this.
Oh, very smart. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like how you're drawing on ancient texts to kind of remind people that this is a plant that has been used medicinally since the dawn of time.
Correct. Yeah, it has.
Yeah, good for you. Yay. So with starting a business in cannabis, what are things you had to learn along the way?
I could talk for about 3 hours about that. There's a lot. I mean, I was a little casual when I came to this because I was like, oh, I'm just going to be making brownies. Whatever, not a big deal. But that was a joke and a hard learning curve.
Okay.
So in terms of the baking side, baking in general is very meticulous. You have to scale everything properly, follow the directions. But then when you add cannabis into that, it's a whole nother level of checks and balances, weighing things properly, portioning them properly, lots of testing, figuring out when and how to add the medication, how that can affect the potency, etc. And then getting into the business side, I mean, I had managed, I would say, up to a dozen people at one time before, but we have 55 employees now. So, it's been a learning curve in terms of just running a business in general and the ins and outs of that. And then in terms of the legal cannabis side, that's a whole nother thing, where we had to jump through a ton of hoops in order to be where we are.
Yeah, good. We're going to go right into the legal aspect of that.
Okay.
How do you ensure that your products are in compliance?
Okay, so we spend a ton of money on it, first and foremost. I mean, because here in California, I'm not quite sure in Maryland, but if we do not pass a compliance test, we have to destroy the product. So, we can go up to 112 milligrams per package in California of THC, but if we're at 114 milligrams, we can't sell that. So not only do we have the wasted product,
Right.
the wasted labor,
Right.
then you have to pay to have it destroyed, and the packaging, everything. So it can be a really big burden. And when we were switching from medical to recreational, we did fail a few tests because we weren't used to the strict regulations. So as a response to that, we put in a ton of protocols to make sure that doesn't happen. We obviously get COAs and test the distillate that we use.
Right.
We do spot tests to make sure that when we do go into batch that it's properly dosed. Once we get the results back from the lab. You know, we go into production, but if we're still feeling a little bit unsure, like, oh, maybe this could be 1 milligram over, we'll do a QC test, a quality control test, and then we submit it into compliance.
Wow.
And we have a compliance team of 4 people right now. So, I mean, we take it seriously, you know.
Of course you have to, especially if they make you pay to destroy it. Let's talk about that.
Correct. I mean, the rules are strict for good reason, but they want to make sure that you're not giving it to your friends or, you know, putting it through a different channel. So they need proof that it's getting destroyed and in the proper manner. So we have specific receptacles to put, you know, cannabis waste and make sure that everything's logged so that something's not, you know, walking out the back door with somebody. But yeah, it's serious, and there's lots of paperwork we have to do through every step. Anytime somebody adds an ingredient in a recipe, they check it off, they initial it. If the, you know, cannabis authorities call and want to see that paperwork, we have to produce it as soon as possible for them. So we have to be on it.
Good. Well, wow. But okay, that is a lot. But Maryland, that reminds me, has what a waste process too that we also follow. So like if I were to accidentally drop a bud on the floor, most people would be like, oh, just give it to me anyways. I'll still take it, wipe it off. No. We have to mark it in a binder specifically, and then we have to grind it up and mix it with kitty litter. And then wet the kitty litter to ensure that nobody goes into that specific receptacle and pulls out that dusty bud and smokes it. No.
I wouldn't put it past
people. Right. That kitty litter destroys it. You can hear it like bubbling and stuff too. It's like a science project, but my heart, you know, breaks. But that's compliance. That is compliance.
No, it is. I mean, and this is the thing, especially for edibles, is people have had bad experiences with edibles in the past, you know, like if they made them at home, because you don't know what the dosing is. So I talked to a lot of people and they're like, whoa, I had this wild night on edibles that I fell asleep for 3 days after, you know, and don't remember anything, right? Yeah. And with the testing now and the compliance procedures, you know exactly what you're getting. And so I think that's great for the consumers because you don't have to be worried about, oh, well, what is one bite of this brownie going to do? Because it really is, it says what it is instead of kind of guessing, you know? So I think that adds comfort to consumers.
It does, taking the guesswork out of it. And it's not risky to medicate with your edibles.
Correct.
That's good. Yay. Okay, so next question. What is CBN and why do you include it in your products?
Okay, so CBN is a cannabinoid that aids in sleep and the longevity and quality of your sleep. And I don't know about you, but I have to take CBN once in a while or melatonin. I have issues with sleep at times. I believe most people do. So it's a nice addition to our products for somebody that wants to relax and take it right before they go to bed. You know, there's who knows how many cannabinoids out there. They're still discovering them, kind of scratching the surface. So we do like to play around with different cannabinoids. We use CBD right now, CBN, and we are looking into other types such as CBG and, you know, THCA. So we'll see.
That's great. Okay, so for our viewers, can you explain what CBG is and what CBG does?
Okay, so CBG it's an uplifting cannabinoid. It's not considered psychoactive per se, but it's more of a euphoric, happy feeling that you'll get from it.
Okay, that's nice. That's great.
Yeah.
What is research and development like?
So it is a pillar of our business. You know, anytime we make a new product, there's a million different things we have to think of. And it's interesting because I worked in restaurants before, and if I wanted to make a new dessert, I'd just make it, right? Like I'd make it and then it'd be the special for the weekend or it'd go on the menu, no big deal.
Yeah.
But it takes us months to come up with a new product just because we have to ensure that it adheres to regulations, whether it's dosing or what form it's taking on, and packaging, etc. So it's a ton of different stuff that goes into it. Our most recent releases were our truffle bars, which was something near and dear to my heart because it's the closest thing we can make to a handmade truffle with cannabis. And that took months and months of R&D just to perfect the dosing, making sure that we didn't have any pesticide issues because California is extremely strict on pesticides in cannabis products. Mm-hmm. So to give you some background on that, chocolate that I can buy at the grocery store, like Whole Foods or whatever that has nice chocolate, I can test that same chocolate and it has too much pesticides on a cannabis product.
Oh,
yeah. So it's not just like, it's not like they don't want us to spray Roundup on our, cannabis plants. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about like extremely strict through the food chain. I mean, we have to use organic ingredients in certain things because it won't pass. So.
But now I kind of want Whole Foods to have the same restrictions.
I agree with that. Either that or take a little pressure off of us. But what we'll usually do here is I'll come up with an idea and then I work with our compliance team and my kitchen team to make it a reality. So it is a quite lengthy process, but I mean, that's my favorite thing to do. So it's fun.
Yay. Yeah. So there's a lot of collaboration within your team.
Absolutely. Like the joke is, I'll have an idea and then everybody else has to figure out how to be able to do it, because, I would like to do a million different things, but it takes a lot of help to go along with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy that you have a team of people behind you to make your great ideas a reality. That's cool.
Me too. We've had a lot of people that have been here since the beginning, so it's really nice. It's like a little dysfunctional family here, but we've been through a lot together, so it's great.
Yay. Is there a lot of trial and error throughout this whole process? I think you might have touched on that, but keep going.
So I would say, at the beginning there was. Mm-hmm. Now we know the ins and outs of, when to add medication, where we should have a starting point, how to medicate just, in general. So it is a little bit better than it was before. Now we have a good base knowledge of what to do.
Yay. What are some options for our viewers to get involved in cannabis like you
have? To be an owner, there's a million different positions that you can hold in the cannabis world. Whether you're working at a manufacturing facility, a distribution facility, a dispensary, a lab, if you're more scientifically inclined. So there's a million different things you can do. There are a lot of challenges, a lot of barriers for entry for anybody. Money being the first one, because licensing is extremely expensive, takes time and money with attorneys, fees, etc. So what I would say is to really figure out what your strengths are. So, sure, you like cannabis, but what's your strength within that? Can you make, great edibles? Can you take your chemistry background and work at a lab? Do you have great marketing sense? What could you do and funnel those skills into a cannabis job? Because there's a million different jobs in this industry. There's marketing jobs, there's sales jobs. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of the way in for most people. And then you can leverage it from there.
Wonderful. So first step is figure out what your specialty is.
Yeah. So, we talked before this. You said you love educating patients. So that's perfect for you, right? And you'll move up, in the dispensary world and who knows where you'll go.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have people from a ton of different industries that are job changers, career changers. And they could have been in the music field or sales or whatever they did before. And they really just take those skills and translate it to this industry.
Beautiful. Okay, so Rachel, what's next?
What's next? Okay. Well, I have big dreams, but we'll see.
Yes.
So right now we're in California, Michigan, and Oklahoma. I'm
Ooh.
hoping to be in Arizona very soon.
Okay.
I would love it if we could get into some other upcoming states, since New York is legalized.
Yes.
For today, that would be wonderful if we could get in there.
Mhm.
But really, we're looking to multi-state expansion and just streamlining our business more. You know, owning a cannabis business, I believe most owners or, executives can relate that it's just like, it's kind of a joke that every day is putting out fires. It's a crazy roller coaster. Um, so, maybe with more longevity, the roller coaster will kind of smooth out. We'll see. But that would be the dream for me.
That's beautiful. And
Yeah.
that. So I thought I heard you say something earlier about you guys did medical and recreational.
Yes.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Medical.
Okay, and then that
Yeah.
transition, talk to us about what that was like.
It was painful. Uh, so, I mean, we were in the gray market, the medical market, for I think almost 3 years. And then licensing came along, and it was hard. It was very hard making sure we got our license, what building we could go into, etc. And there were times where it was like, are we going to make it through to this recreational market because we can't find a building, or this building they want millions of dollars for, etc. So that was a challenge, which we have the right partners, so we did make it through that. But then the other end of it was when regulations kicked in for recreational. We used to sell, huge 1,000 milligram brownies, and we obviously couldn't do that anymore. So yeah, I know we still get emails about it saying where can we find these, which unfortunately you can't. But everything has to be 10 milligrams per serving or under. So that forced us into, a different production kind of style where we make mini cookies and mini brownies, instead of like big ones.
Right.
But then along with that comes, increased labor. So we had to figure that out, because we were going to price ourselves out of the market with the labor. So a lot of stuff. But we've flourished. We've made it through. And now, we're in our licensed facility. We also white label for other brands in California. So, I mean, we're in a good spot now. But it definitely was a struggle for sure.
So your edibles cap at 10 milligrams. That's going to be like a wow for our viewers here in Maryland, because that is what we consider to be like micro dosing.
Well, that's impressive because we consider microdosing to be like 3 milligrams, but
okay.
Yeah, it's 10 milligrams per serving and 100 per package. So most of our stuff has 10 pieces at 10 milligrams. We have some other items that are 2 pieces with a cutting chart so people can make sure that they're getting the 10 milligrams if they'd like. Or, if they want more, they can do that in one bite. But yeah, the days of 1,000 milligrams are long gone.
We've never had that, and that sounds beautiful. So
yeah,
really cool.
A lot of medical patients relied on that. So, that is hard because we will still get inquiries about it, but unfortunately we just can't make it in our facility.
So that was rec at the capping at 10 milligrams. Does medical have a higher room?
Medical, I believe, is 1,000. But it just depends on the product, because I believe tinctures can go to 1,000, whereas edibles are different. So it really just depends on the product itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for, sharing that, so I know what to expect when I go to Cali for the first time.
Well, you're probably happy to be able to purchase in Maryland after finding that out.
Okay, so how can people get in contact with you, Rachel?
Yeah, of course. So you can contact me through the website, which is cannaedibles.com. You can follow us on Instagram and message us through there. Kaneh Company is our handle. And yeah, feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I love talking about this stuff. And thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you so much for talking and coming on and just chatting with me tonight.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay, so now we will open up to question and answers Q&A with the public, with our viewers. So if anybody is on, this is the time to shoot us some questions. And until they pop up, you and I will just continue to chat.
Okay, let's chat it up.
Okay, so what is your favorite product that you guys make?
Okay, well, that's like picking a child, you know. But luckily, I don't have 39 children because that would be rough. We do have 39 SKUs. Uh, so, I mean, usually what I will say is our latest SKU is going to be my favorite. So we did come out with the truffle bars. I wish I had one right here to show you, but I don't. But they're just so good. They're really a gourmet, like luxury experience. You know, a really nice truffle with a smooth ganache inside. So we have 3 flavors of that. We are planning on making another one with CBN and CBD in it. Yeah, so that'll be good. And I mean, I don't know, it's hard to pick. You know, we have 4 SKUs of brownies. That's our biggest seller here in California and the other states as well. You know, brownies are such a common, like, pot treat, like the pot brownie, right? But not a lot of people make them in California. So it really is our bread and butter, if you will, is our brownies. And then we have cookies, we make jellies, we make chocolates. We make a lot.
Jellies like for your toast?
No, no. So it's kind of like a gummy.
Okay.
Gummies are very popular here, but it's not a gummy. So it's not made with gelatin. It's not made with artificial flavoring. It's going to be a little bit of a softer, smoother texture. And it's made with real fruit puree. Pectin is the thickener on it. So they're vegan, gluten-free.
Yay.
Well, they do taste like jam. Like when we were coming out with them, I was gonna call them jam bites, but we vetoed that. But yeah, so they're really good, our jellies.
Yay, good. And I think jam bites would have been a cute name too. So
well, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, first question of the night. Can you deliver to Maryland? Coming from Derek Barnes.
Don't I wish we could, but unfortunately we cannot, as it's federally still unacceptable, we'll say, and so we cannot ship across state lines. But if you know a manufacturing facility in Maryland, maybe we'll come to Maryland someday.
Yay.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I mean, it'd be great if we could ship, but
yeah,
we can't. So
of all the states that you listed that you were in and where you wanted to go to next, I was like, when are you going to say
Maryland? I've never been to Maryland, but I'd like to go everywhere. So yeah.
Come visit.
Sure.
And even though stop by Marion, Maine.
That would be great. It looks beautiful.
It is.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I mean, now I'll have to think about it because you said you can't have chocolates, you can't have baked goods, but maybe we could do the jellies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm definitely thinking that you guys could do great things with the jellies. One of the biggest issues is sleep that I hear people talking about. I have sleep issues myself. So CBN, I love that you guys use CBN.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I like all the ratioed products because you get different benefits from them. So we do have some CBD and THC products, and I like our guava tamarind jellies. I'll take those just to kind of relax, you know. I mean, instead of a glass of wine or whatever, I just take that instead.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, yay. Okay, well, thank you, Rachel, so much for coming on and talking to us about Kaneh Company. I enjoyed you being here, and I enjoyed everything that you taught me, and I can't wait to go to Cali so I can come visit you guys.
Yeah, come visit the facility when you come out here.
I definitely will.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for having me.
No problem. You have a great night.
You too.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in and viewing. That was a great conversation with Rachel. I hope that you enjoyed everything that we talked about, and definitely tune in next Wednesday, same time at the main line. Good night.